صليت مع رسول الله. بسم الله، الحمد لله، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. إن شاء الله عز وجل سنبدأ في المحاضرة. في أثناء ذلك إن شاء الله عز وجل سنحاول أن نربط الشيخ يحاول يربط projector live screen to explain something إن شاء الله عز وجل. We will start the financing 101 Islamic financing 101 مع الشيخ مان القضاة. لمن لا يعرف الشيخ هو أحد أو الشيخ عضو مجمع فقهاء الشريعة، المجمع الفقهي ربما يكون هو الأول في أمريكا من ناحية المجمع الفقهاء الشريعة الذي يرأسه الشيخ صلاح الصاوي، أو لا زال هو صلاح الصاوي، مجموعة من المشايخ الفضلاء. هو أيضا one of the founder of Guidance College. Guidance College, Islamic Guidance College، أحد الجامعات الأمريكية أو the American college that mainly focus on Islamic studies and Islamic knowledge. إن شاء الله عز وجل سيكون الشيخ معنا الليلة بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى، نبقى معه إن شاء الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله والحمد لله لا شريك له، لا إله إلا هو إليه النشور. أمسينا على فطرة الإسلام وكلمة الإخلاص، وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. اللهم إنا أمسينا منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتم علينا نعمتك وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما أمسى بنا من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك، فلك الحمد ولك الشكر. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. أحبتي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله جميعا، طبتم وطاب ممشاكم وتبوأتم من الجنة منزلا بإذن الله. ثم أما بعد, our topic for tonight, as it was announced and maybe advertised ahead of time, Islamic Finance 101. Islamic Finance 101. Before I start discussing details, this is actually one of the challenges that we face in this society here. How to be financially functional, how to be financially operational, how to live your life like others without compromising your principles and your ethics, how to conduct Islamic finance in a proper way, how to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your mu'amalat in the same way that you obey Him in your ibadat. When it comes to business, when it comes to career, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to investment and retirement account and student loans and insurance, and the list actually goes on and on. This is because of a very simple fact that the whole system in the US, the finance system, is not an Islamic one. So the whole system is different. How to stay here, how to navigate through the system, how to avoid what's haram and to conduct what's halal, that inshallah will be our main focus for tonight's presentation. This presentation actually I prefer to call it Islamic Finance 101, and it has three different components. Islamic Finance 101. Three different components, Islamic Finance 101. Let's break it down to three different components and see what does finance mean, and if you add to it Islamic, what will be the meaning, and why I'm calling it 101. Finance, to start with, means that in each and every single society, there are a group of individuals or maybe entities who do have extra money, who are willing to give that money to others for a return. So they want to make money from the money that they have. So they offer or they supply money. On the other side, there are certain individuals and entities who are looking for funding. They want to do certain, projects or certain issues, right? But they do not have sufficient funds. Someone wants to build a house. Someone wants to purchase a ready-to-go house. Someone wants to establish a business. Someone wants to upgrade a business. Someone is looking for fund, to pay for the tuition fees and so on and so forth. So there is a, sure, so. طيب. So I was good enough. طيب. I was saying that no, in each and every I was saying that in each and every society there is a money supply and money demand. Money supply by those who do have extra fund or are looking for investment opportunities to give their fund or their money for a retail. On the other side, certain individuals and entities are looking for funding opportunities. They want to purchase their own house, they want to establish a business, they want to pay the tuition fees for their kids, whatever the expenditure might be. And when the society actually is too big, like United States, you are talking about millions of people between money suppliers and money demanders, like people are waiting for fund. Of course, they cannot communicate effectively in a direct method. They have to have a third party, like someone in between, to serve as a mediator, as a platform, to bring those who do have fund, right, to offer, and those who are looking for fund to get their money, and to structure the relationship between the two different parties. That is actually the exact job of any finance institute. That's the exact job of any finance institute. A very technical term, if you look here, you will find fund mobilization, collecting fund, okay, bringing fund from those who do have extra money, to offer for a return, of course, nothing for free. And we have fund utilization, like, giving that fund to those who are looking for. And there is a fund intermediation, which is the job of the bank or the finance institute or the mortgage company. Any traditional bank here in this society, okay, is an entity that collects fund through opening saving accounts. They take your money for 3 or 4% APR, okay, annual percentage rate. And they turn around, they give that money, the exact money that you deposited, okay, for others, for let's say for 9% APR, right? Difference between 9 and 4, that's 5%. They keep that 5% APR as their commission. This is how they make their living. So their job actually is to borrow money with interest from investors, right? And to lend money with interest for borrowers, as simple as that. I mean, this is the core business of those institutes. Of course, they make, money from different services, like opening a checking account, like money transfer, like, having like a, what do you call it, a treasury, like to save some valuable items. But their core business, the way that they make the big chunk of money, make their living actually is borrowing money with interest, lending money with interest, or intermediating, between those who have money to supply and those who have money to look for and to utilize. So this is actually finance as an institute, as a business, as an industry, right? Taking fund from those who do have, giving that fund for those who are looking for a certain commission. Now, when you add to the term finance, you add another term, which is Islamic finance. You see here, we have finance and we have Islamic finance. Now you are zooming in, right? You are talking about a very particular finance system that's called the Islamic one. Now, when you hear the term Islamic finance, okay, it should come to your mind that every single individual involved, whether the money supplier or the money recipient or the intermediator or the platform or the bank, each and every single party has to maintain the highest level of transparency and integrity. Transparency and integrity. Every single party knows from day one who is doing what, who is providing the money, who is utilizing the money, who is managing the business. What if one of the investors did not pay on time? What if someone wants to just quit, okay, or just terminate that partnership? What if someone from those, active members in that company, passed away? What if there was a loss? What if there was a profit? What if they break? All these what ifs with S have to be incorporated in a contract that's very clearly and effectively communicate with every single individual. So nobody would say down the road, oh, you know what, I didn't know that. No one told me, okay, that I will not be incurring loss. No one told me that I have to pay this and this amount. All these, like, different kinds of gharar, ambiguity, vagueness, uncertainty are not supposed to be there. I mean, this is what Islamic finance is all about. So number one, transparency and integrity. Transparency and integrity. Number two, ethics and values. Ethics and values. Islamic finance system is a very socially and ethically responsible finance. And I want to always remember that permissibility overrides feasibility. What does that mean? It means that regardless of the feasibility or the profitability of any project, even if like a certain project is so profitable, brings a lot of money, if that particular project or product or partnership or agreement or whatever, you know, the case might be, okay, produces something that is not acceptable, something stands against the ethics of the society, something related to gambling, something related to winery, to adult entertainment, to anything that's explicitly haram in our deen, then it has to be banned from day one. We cannot even sit down together and discuss details if the final product, for example, related to gambling or tobacco or to alcohol or adult entertainment or pornography or anything that's, you know, well known to be haram. Why? Because permissibility overrides feasibility. I mean, this is Islamic Finance 101. The third characteristic here is called commoditization and asset-backed. Commoditization and asset-backed. It means that in addition to be like, you know, so honest and so transparent and to pay attention to the ethics and the values that you embrace when you practice Islamic finance, you have to look for the best interest of the society at large. You have to look for the best interest of the society at large. Make sure when you get involved in Islamic finance that you produce something tangible, something valuable, something beneficial. Okay? You look for the well-being, okay, and the welfare of the society at large. When you get involved in Islamic finance, you create something, you manufacture something, you buy, you sell, you trade, you do something that brings value to the society. So you are not the only one who's benefiting from that business. No, everybody around you actually is benefiting. So all those different ways of making money, right, in the stock market nowadays, people actually have a lot of what is so-called financial instruments between bonds and derivatives and futures and options and CDS and CDO, and the list actually goes on and on. The vast majority, I mean, if you put aside stocks actually is the only option that you have as a practicing Muslim. If you put aside the stocks, the vast majority of those financial instruments are not halal. Even if some of them, okay, like options or derivatives, even if some of them actually are halal, they do not make any sense whatsoever. Okay? Take, for example, a certain financial instrument, I'm not sure if it is CDS or CDO. If you hold it, right, it means that you pay certain premium periodically, maybe every month, in order for that financial instrument to be connected with a certain index, certain portfolio. If that index group of companies make a profit, you will be losing money. And if they incur loss, you will be making money, right? Is this an ethical way? I mean, what kind of added value to the society actually you do whenever you make a profit from the loss of other people, or whenever you incur loss because other people actually are benefiting and making money? This actually makes no sense whatsoever. Even with the assumption for discussion purposes that, oh, this is halal, well, it does not make any sense whatsoever. Okay? So do not get involved in something that does not make any sense. Do not get involved in it, even if it is claimed to be halal, as long as that particular business or product or project is not producing something tangible, beneficial, valuable to the society, stay away from it. It goes without saying that the ban of interest or the prohibition of riba or interest is the most important and the most obvious, actually, characteristic in the Islamic finance system. Now, when we say that riba is haram in Islam, we are not coming from nowhere. We are not creating something new. Okay, we are just having the same heritage or the same legacy of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. We Muslims wholeheartedly believe that riba is prohibited in Islam in the same way it was prohibited in Christianity. In the same way it was prohibited in Judaism, believe it or not. When it comes to the prohibition of riba in Judaism, it's not the Torah that told us riba is haram. No, it is the Quran itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala criticized certain Jewish community for a certain period of time for certain bad deeds that they used to commit. He said subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Nisa, if I recall, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فبظلم من الذين هادوا حرمنا عليهم طيبات أحلت لهم وبصدهم عن سبيل الله كثيرا. فبظلم من الذين هادوا حرمنا عليهم طيبات أحلت لهم وبصدهم عن سبيل الله كثيرا وأخذهم الربا وقد نهوا عنه. وأخذهم الربا, one of the bad characteristics of those people is that they used to transact and deal with interest while they were prohibited from doing so. That's my point here. وأخذهم الربا وقد نهوا عنه. They used to transact and deal with interest while they were prohibited from doing so. So when we say that riba is prohibited in Judaism, in al-Yahudiyya, that's something actually taken from the Quran. Isa alayhi salatu wasalam in the Quran, according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's like speaking on his behalf, قال وليحل لكم بعض الذي حرم عليكم. Is that correct? وليحل لكم بعض الذي حرم عليكم وجئتكم بآية من ربكم فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. Among the issues that were prohibited in Christianity is riba, right? Yes, I know that we do have a big question mark when it comes to the authenticity of the so-called Bible that people refer to nowadays. But forget about that issue. Just grab any edition of the Bible and just read. You will come across several verses, either by Isa alayhi salatu wasalam or by the disciples, al-Hawariyin, where they were explicitly prohibiting their followers from dealing with interest. So there is a lot of consistency, right? Riba was prohibited in Judaism. Riba was prohibited in Christianity. Riba is prohibited in Islam. Riba will continue being prohibited all the way until the day of judgment. So again, we are not creating something new here. Okay. Now, if the most important characteristic of this system is the ban or the prohibition of riba, and riba is prohibited in Judaism and Christianity, right? If you feel more comfortable calling this system Jewish financial system, you are absolutely correct. If you want to call it a Christian finance system, you are absolutely right. We don't care about names. I mean, we don't have to label it as Islamic finance system. Well, call it Jewish. I don't mind at all. Call it a Christian. I don't mind at all. Okay, because of the consistency and the pattern that I already discussed. So riba was haram in the past, is haram nowadays, will continue being haram all the way until the day of judgment. Why I'm calling this presentation Islamic Finance 101, right? The main focus, actually, the scope of the discussion of tonight is not to dig in depth and just verify very tiny details. Let's say, for example, that if we concluded tonight that conventional mortgage is not halal, for example, okay? How about those Islamic mortgage companies? Are they doing a good job or a bad job? How about the fatwa of Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi rahmatullah alayhi, who did allow Muslims in this society to purchase one house for residential purposes with riba? All these different tiny details are not a part of the scope of this presentation. This is just Islamic Finance 101. We're here to discuss the very fundamental, very basic differences between the traditional, the classical, the riba-based finance system as opposed to the finance one. Another example. If we concluded that mudaraba, for example, which is a trustee partnership, money from one partner, management and operation from the other partner. So you put those resources together and you start a business, right? Now, the technical tiny details of that mudaraba, okay? What if there was a profit? What if there was a loss? What if the operator or the manager did not do a good job, right? What if it is proven that there was an embezzlement? And all these different details are not a part of the scope of this presentation, because this is only Islamic Finance 101. I want you to go home tonight, okay? If your wife or your kids ask you a question, what does Islamic finance mean? What makes it different from the riba, traditional, riba-based finance system in the USA, your answer actually should be obvious and clear, because I mean this is the message that I want you to take home with you tonight. So that's why I'm calling it, as you see, Islamic Finance and 101. Now, we just said that riba is prohibited every time, everywhere. And next question, like if we want to go in a logical order, what is the definition of riba? What is the definition of riba? Here is the issue. Sometimes you prefer to self-educate yourself. You just grab classical books, عمدة السالك وعدة الناسك, المغني لابن قدامة, الوسوط للسرخسي, like those classical books. And you go to Kitab al-Riba, Bab al-Riba, Kitab al-Riba, and you start reading. You come across examples that do not make any sense for you, right? You come across an example, something called Riba al-Fadl, Riba al-Nasa, Riba al-Nasiya, Riba al-Diyun, Riba al-Jahiliya, Riba al-Ta'am, Riba al-Nuqud. And the more you read, the more you get confused. You come across exchanging barley for wheat, or like apple for banana, or maybe certain date fruit with a certain quality, with more or less, okay, date fruit from different quality. And the more you read, the more you start scratching your head and just ask a question: is this the riba that we experience in this society, Muslims living in the USA in 2025? The answer is absolutely no. All these examples that I just mentioned are absolutely correct, do not get me wrong, right? But they are outdated. They do not belong to our society. We, in this society, do not exchange barley for wheat, or like date food for date food. If you want to purchase something, you just grab your iPhone, you go to that Instacart, you just make an order, use your debit card, your credit card. Sometimes even you use cryptocurrency to make an order. 2 or 3 hours, you will find the order and dropped in front of your front door, right? So all these examples are absolutely correct, but they are so confusing for us. Absolutely outdated examples, right? Now, with this in mind, when I say riba or interest from now on, forget about all these big scary names: riba al-fadl, nasi'a, nasa, diyun, riba al-ta'am, riba al-nuqud, riba. Forget about all these different, terms and definitions, and just focus on this one that you see here on the screen. Okay, when I say riba, I mean the premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender, along with the principal amount, either as a condition for the loan or for the extension in its maturity, and I will explain. And even for more and more simplicity, I want to just forget about the very last part of the definition, or for an extension in its maturity. Forget about it. Just focus on the rest of it. This is the premium. If you look at it, it is the premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender, along with the principal amount, as a condition for the loan. Period. That's it. As a condition for the loan. How many categories of money we have here? We have two. We have the premium and we have the principal. If you look at the definition, there is a principal amount given, and there is a premium, something like a surplus, extra money that has to be paid on top of the principal. And how many parties we have here? We have two. We have borrower and we have lender. We have borrower and we have lender, right? From the definition, it's obvious that there is no partnership between the borrower and the lender. He didn't say partners, which makes it clear that the financier or the bank or the finance company or the lender who gives you the money does not care about the outcome result of that loan, right? Nowadays, you go to Bank of America, you apply for business loan, right? Investment loan, personal loan, student loan, okay, construction loan, whatever the category might be. If you are approved for $100,000 for 5% APR, and APR stands for annual percentage rate. Okay, let's say that this loan was given as an investment loan. Once you approve and you sign and get your money, the bank actually does not care about the outcome result of that loan. You take that money, you put it in a business, you make a profit, you break even, you incur loss, you go bankrupt. Bank actually does not care about you, right? Bank is just sitting like this, relaxing, waiting for the money to be paid, for the principal to be paid, and for the premium on top of the principal to be paid as well, right? It makes it clear that the relationship is just borrower-lender relationship. It's not partnership relationship. If it is a partnership, then there should be a kind of risk sharing between people, right? If there is a profit, everybody will be enjoying the profit. And if there is a loss, everybody will be incurring loss. That is the essence and the nature of partnership. That partnership actually is not there from day one. That partnership is not there from day one. You are absolutely by yourself, right? You break even, you make profit, you incur loss, you go bankrupt, whatever happened to you, the bank actually does not. Well, by the law of the land, they can go after you in the court and ask for the principal and ask for the premium on top of the principal. That is the agreement that you signed with the bank, right? So again, I want you to remember this definition from now on. Whenever I say riba or interest or usury, by the way, there is no difference. Some people nowadays prefer to make difference between usury and riba and interest. Well, they could be used interchangeably, right? They are like synonyms, are not antonyms. So remember from now on, the premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender along with the principal amount as a condition for the loan. What does it mean as a condition for the loan? If you tell the banker or the loan officer, Bank of America, for example, you know what, I'm willing to proceed, I want to take $100,000, right? But I cannot pay interest because I'm a Muslim. Well, the answer would be, you are in the wrong place. We are not a charity here, right? You go to your masjid and let them give you money for free. We are making money here. If you want to proceed, then you have to commit to paying 5% in our example, 5% APR. You take it or you leave it. This is what we have for you, right? So this is what I mean by as a condition for the loan, which means that you have to commit yourself, okay, from day one to pay that interest, that premium. You want to call it premium, call it surplus, call it interest, simple interest, compound interest, one-time payment, periodical, does not make any difference. We are not here to discuss details. We are to discuss only principles and main ideas, right, when it comes to Islamic finance. So this is actually what I mean by riba from now on. Okay, it's obvious from this definition we just discussed is that this is a risk-shifting finance. Risk-shifting finance means that the bank or the financier or the mortgage company is just putting all the risk of taking that money on your shoulder, and they just step back, right? You are by your own, do whatever you want, come back after 1 year and pay us the principal and the premium. In our example, if you want to take that $100,000 for 1 year, right? Total amount has to be paid back is how much? 105, is that correct? Simple interest, APR, annual percentage rate. If you want to keep that money for 3 years, total has to be paid back is how much? 115, and so on and so forth, right? So again, there is no risk taken by the bank whatsoever. That's why we call it risk-shifting finance. I want you to remember this term because once we reach to the Islamic finance, it's all about risk-sharing finance and not risk-shifting finance. This is the like very fundamental point that I want you to have in mind. So there is no partnership, there is no risk, there is no liability, okay? And there is a lot of financial exploitation. In the vast majority of cases where people go to banks to borrow, it is because they do not have sufficient fund to proceed with their plan and their business. That's why they go to the bank and they get enslaved by the bank. Here is what I have for you. You are not in a position to negotiate a deal with the bank. This is what I have for you. You take it or you leave it, right? So they are the strong party and you are the weak party, right? You just sign, you take the money, you are absolutely by your own. Maybe by now, you can start like sensing on why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited riba, because of the dhulm, because of the financial exploitation that takes place. Okay, what kind of challenge we Muslims face in this society here? I don't think the status of riba is something debatable here. Every Muslim knows that riba is haram. Yes, well, some of our non-Muslim neighbors and fellow Americans know that practicing Muslims do not deal with interest. Is that correct? So it's not the status of riba. Oh, it's haram. No, you know what? It's halal. No, it is not. The challenge that we face, to my very humble experience, is the discrepancy between what we face in the real life, right, as opposed to what we read in the classical books. In the classical books, again, we read examples that are absolutely outdated, exchanging barley for wheat, or apple for banana, or rice for sugar, or oil for musharraf, or whatever, right? All these examples are correct, but they are actually very, very outdated. Now, this is what we read in the books. Now, in the real life, you come across several charges or several payments, whether you charge others or you get charged by others. Something like, as you see here, penalty clause, especially when it comes to putting together a construction agreement. There is a penalty clause. If the contractor did not submit you the real estate property on time, then you charge him or her penalty, right? Is that penalty riba or not? You come across overdraft charge, and I will explain overdraft, like when you overuse your debit card without having sufficient fund. You come across something called late fees. Each and every single utility bill that you receive does have a certain due date. Is that correct? What will happen if you did not pay in full before the due date? What will happen? You will be charged what's called late fees, right? Is the late fees riba or not? Another example, dividend. If you have any business to do in the stock market, right? You have to, you receive dividend. What else? Profit, commission, interest, cashback, and I will explain cashback, fine, okay, compensation, honorarium, service fees, equity, shares. List actually goes on and on. Here is actually where the confusion is coming from. You read something in the books, and you come across in the real life, in the contracts and the agreements and the paperwork that you sign, okay, or you come across actually several payments and charges, like what I said here: penalty, overdraft charge, late fees, dividend, profit, commission, interest, cashback, fine, compensation, honorarium, service fees, equity, shares, and on and on. Now, in order for us to identify those haram transactions to be avoided and those halal transactions to be conducted confidently without having any sense of guilt, you need to find out, according to the definition of riba here, okay, you need to find out if it is proven that in any transaction, any potential partnership, any contract, any agreement, right, any enterprise, anything that you want to do, if it is proven that someone is advancing money to others, okay, and others actually are guaranteeing the principal and guaranteeing the return on top of the principal to that financier or to the money giver, right? That is the riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits. As simple as that. One more time. If it is proven that someone is giving money, okay, and the other parties or other partners, okay, call them whatever you want, partners, parties, borrowers, lender, agents, we don't care about names. Someone is giving money to others, okay, and based on the agreement, the principal is guaranteed. The other party who is receiving the money is guaranteeing the principal. Whatever happened to that business, do not worry, I'm going to pay you the principal back. And on top of the principal, I'm going to pay you such and such amount. It could be lump sum, it could be percentage, it could be periodical payment, one-time payment, APR, compound, simple. We don't care about all these details. Principal is guaranteed. The return on top of the principal is guaranteed as well. If that is proven, ذلك الربا الذي حرمه الله ورسوله. That is the exact riba that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet ﷺ prohibited. As simple as that. Right? Now, the issue here is that you need to pay a lot of attention and scrutinize those potential transactions. Okay? You need to pause whenever you come across a certain transaction or deal or business opportunity and just think about it this way. Is it proven that someone is giving money, okay, and the other party is guaranteeing the principal and guaranteeing the return on top of it? If that is proven, then this is riba. And I will give you some examples. Before I move on with the examples, okay, there is a well-established legal maxim, قاعدة فقهية or fiqh maxim, It goes العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. What matters in business transactions is the essence and reality, not the wording or the formality. In other words, we don't care about the names, okay, that people prefer to use. What we care about is the reality of the deal. This is actually a barrel of war. Is that correct? If you write down here wine or beer, right? It doesn't make it haram. It's still water. Is that correct? Another example. I gave my phone as a gift to someone. Okay. Told them, listen, here is a gift for you, but you need to gift me back $100. It's not a gift anymore. It is a sale agreement. Okay, right? Because the nature of the deal is that here is a commodity. You take it for $100. Well, it is a sale agreement. It's not a gift. Likewise, this is actually halal water. It's not wine. Even if there is a wine or beer, it doesn't change the essence, okay, of that liquid, which is the fact that this is halal water. So this is what we mean by العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. In the real life, this should bring to our attention the fact that the majority of so-called Islamic mortgage companies in the USA, Islamic mortgage companies, they try to impress their audience and the potential buyers by using big names in their contracts. So this is إجارة واقتناء, this is declining partnership, مشاركة متناقصة منتهية بالتمليك, ملك العين ومش عارف الرقبة, those big names. So everybody would say, wow, those people are really, into Islamic finance. Well, they do not know what are they talking about, with all due respect. Okay? If you just grab any contract and read it, you will find out that it is a semi-interest-bearing loan. Okay? They claim to apply musharaka, which is a declining partnership. Well, if you want to go through the musharaka, you need to show me that at a certain scenario, a certain point, you need to share, okay, the maintenance and the tax and the insurance with me, right? If you put $500,000 to finance a house or to mortgage a house or to help me mortgaging my house, but your principal $500,000 and the return that I have to pay you back $800,000 within the next 30 years, okay? And no maintenance, no tax, no insurance, no appreciation, no depreciation, no eminent domain, no natural disaster, okay? You are not responsible for anything whatsoever. And you still call it musharaka? What kind of musharaka you are referring to? You see? So this is actually what I mean by العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. Do not get tricked by those, big terms that they use. إجارة واقتناء, ملك العين ومش عارف ملك العين واستثناء المنفعة. Those big terms. Forget about all these names. I want to see a contract that reflects a certain amount of risk that you as a financier, as a mortgage company take in order for you to justify the profit that you want to make out of this deal. If that is proven, your business is halal. If not, with all due respect, your business is not halal. Okay? And vice versa, believe it or not. If Bank of America or Chase or Capital One or Wells Fargo one day decides to purchase the property jointly with you, right? And to do lease to own, okay, for their share, and they share with you maintenance, tax, and insurance, and if something happened to the house, there was an increase or decrease in the market value, they will share that with you. Their business actually is halal. Like mortgaging a house with them would be halal because they do it in a halal way. So we don't care about the religion, right, or the religious affiliation of the financing. What we care about is the essence and the reality of the deal, right? This is exactly what I mean by العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. Let's take some examples here. Okay, we have, for instance, saving account. When you open a saving account, traditional saving account, it does not come to your mind that you are doing something wrong. It does not. Okay, and I will explain why. If I do have $10,000, and I told my brother here is $10,000. We are now in January 2025. Here is the money. Do whatever you want with the money, and you need to pay me back. You need to pay me back $11,000 by December 2025. This is a straightforward interest-bearing loan. Am I correct? Here is the money,
10,000, you pay me back 11,000. You do whatever you want to or buy your own, you pay me back $11,000. That is an interest-bearing loan. Okay, what if I change my mind and just I open a saving account with Bank of America? And based on the deal that I signed online or I went like there, walked in person, okay, they're gonna open a saving account for me, $10,000, and by the FDIC, okay, by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, they have to pay me back $11,000 by the end of 2025. What is the difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2? It's just copy and paste, the same, okay? And this is actually why opening a saving account is not a halal option. Some people actually would get confused here. Oh, do you want to tell me that you, the one who has $10,000, is lending Bank of America who has hundreds of billions of millions of dollars? My answer is yes. العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. We do not care about who has more money and who has less. What we care about is the reality of the deal. I am advancing money to a certain party, okay, and that money is guaranteed. That 10,000 is to be paid back 11,000 by the end of 2025. It has no interpretation whatsoever other than the fact that I am lending my money. It's not called a loan, but this is again the Islamic interpretation of what's going on here is that you are lending your money to the bank. You are lending your money to the bank, right? And that's why opening a saving account actually is not a halal option. Simple as that. Overdraft charge. You have only $500 available balance in your checking account. Your checking account is connected with a debit card. Is that correct? Your checking account is connected with a debit card. You stop by a point of sale, right, a store, to purchase a phone. And the phone actually was for $700. For whatever reason, the transaction went through. You have available balance how much? $500. And you purchased an item for $700. And the transaction went through. After a few days, when you went to your like online statement to find out what's going on, okay, you found out that you have to pay the $200 back plus $35 overdraft charge. Overdraft charge. It's not riba, it's not interest, no, it is overdraft charge. Is that overdraft charge riba or not? Before we answer this question, we need to pause and just think about the mechanism of what happened, right? The way that this business was conducted. So we said that you have only 500 and you purchased an item, phone or whatever, for $700 and the transaction went through. It means that someone paid $200 on your behalf. Does that make sense? Okay. If the only thing, okay, if it is like a gift, like يعني مشان سواد عيونك يعني خذ هال200 ومع السلامة, right? Then we should be good to go. But it's not the case. You have to pay the $200 back, and on top of the 200, you need to pay $35 on top of it. I'm giving random numbers, so do not quote me with that. Well, by default, you borrowed $200 from Bank of America, from your bank that you are opening checking account with, and you have to pay it back $235. By default, that $35 is none but interest. That $35 is none because you borrowed again. You borrowed 200 and you have to pay it back 235. If the only thing you need to pay back is 200, then you should be good to go. But the problem here is that there's an extra money has to be paid on top of the principal that you have borrowed. Some people might make an argument here. Oh, this is not riba. This is like a very abnormal case where someone is overdrafting, like using our money. So we need to process that payment to pay on his behalf, and we need to go after him and ask him to pay us the money. Because of that overhead work, right, okay, extra work, we need to charge him. And that's, by the way, a very good argument. I mean, you can easily prove that those $35 are not riba. No, this is like an overdraft charge or service fees, right? And that could be correct. As an Islamic Finance 101 presentation, let me just make it simple. I would say that those $35 are riba by default overdraft charge. riba by default unless otherwise proven. And otherwise could be easier proven. Otherwise could be easier proven. Let's take another example, home mortgage. Okay, is mortgaging a house in a very traditional way in the USA, is it haram or halal? Before we answer the question, we need to again pause and just try to unlock the secret of this transaction. When I mortgage a house in a very classical, traditional way, okay, it means that I'm getting involved in 3 different simultaneous deals at the same time. There is a sale agreement where I buy the property from the landlord, right? He's asking for $500,000. Of course, I do not have $500,000 cash. And that's why I go to a mortgage company or to bank and apply for mortgage. Upon the approval of my application, that bank would pay $500,000 on my behalf to the landlord, right? And I have to pay that amount, $800,000 within the next 30 years. So this is deal number 2. There's a sale agreement where you purchase the house from the landlord, and there is a loan agreement between you and the bank or the mortgage company. Now the third one, in order for the mortgage company to secure their fund, okay, they put a lien on the property. Some people mistakenly think that, oh, the mortgage company is the owner of the house. Okay, wrong answer. The mortgage company actually is the lien holder. Okay, there are 2 major documents here when you go through a mortgage. There is a title and there is a deed of trust. Title actually is a document that reflects the ownership of the house. Who owns the house? And believe me, the bank doesn't care about who owns the house. What they care about is the deed of trust. In the deed of trust, there is an obliger, which is the borrower, which is you, the victim or the customer, and there is the lender, which is the mortgage company. Okay, and there is the lien holder, which is the mortgage company as well. So their name, you're absolutely correct. Their name is there on the deed of trust, but as a lien holder, not as an owner. And that's why when it comes to maintenance and tax and insurance, and if there is appreciation, depreciation, eminent domain, the property taken by the government with no sufficient compensation, natural disaster, something happened and the insurance did not cover, you are by your own. Do you want to tell me that the mortgage company shares with you these expenses? They do not. They do not. So you own the house from the day one. You are the borrower. You are the owner. The mortgage company actually is the lender. The mortgage company is the lien holder. Is the lien holder. So we ended up having sale agreement, and we have a sale agreement. And we have a loan agreement. And in order for the mortgage company to secure their fund, okay, they put a lien on the property, and you have to sign that document. And that's actually called Alqudhaa. Sale agreement is halal. وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. Mortgage agreement, in a sense that the lender is allowed to offer what is called nowadays secured loan, like ask for a security, ask for collateral, right, as a rahan to secure his fund. That would be fine. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran did allow عقد الرهن وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبول. الرهان actually is الرهن is the mortgage, right? If it is an interest-free loan, okay, and I give you $10,000, right, and I do not know, with all due respect, I do not know you will, okay, I can ask for a collateral. Give me your phone, give me the keys of your car. I'm going to keep it with me as a collateral until you come back and pay me the money. That's عقد الرهن. عقد الرهن actually is halal. We do not have any issue with it. So when it comes to the sale agreement, it's halal. When it comes to the mortgage agreement, according to the Quranic definition of the mortgage agreement, وَإِن كُنتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ. That rihan actually is halal. That rihan is halal. The only problem we have here is the contract in the middle, which is the loan agreement. You borrow $800,000. You pay it back. You borrow $500,000. You pay it back $800,000. Okay, that's a risk shifting mode of finance. Mortgage company doesn't care about what happened to the house. They lend you the money by the FDIC, by the Federal Reserve, by the mortgage code in the USA. They can go after you and get the money. That's why they put a lien on the property to go after you and pay. You have to pay the principal. You have to pay interest, right? So 2 halal agreements and 1 haram one, right? In the Islamic finance system, if it is proven that a certain segment within any deal, any business transaction is haram, that is way more than enough to ruin the whole deal and just make it a haram. So despite the fact that sale agreement is halal, mortgage agreement is halal, since there is an interest-bearing loan involved here, the whole deal actually is not halal. So the conclusion is that mortgaging homes or home mortgage here in the USA is not a halal option. Again, Islamic mortgage companies, fatwa al-Shaykh al-Qaradawi rahmatullah alayh, all these things are very irrelevant to our discussion for tonight. Moving on. How about like opposite examples? Cashback. Cashback means that you use your own credit card. It's not debit card anymore, it's a credit card, right? You purchase items or you pay bills, for example, okay, for $100, and the credit card company, because of the promotion that they have, okay, they pay you back $5. Now, to understand it better, if I'm to give you $100 to pay me back $105, right? Then this is an interest-bearing loan. Is that correct? If I'm to give you $100 to be paid back to me $100, that is قرض حسن, halal, قرض حسن, interest-free loan. If I'm to give you $100 and ask you to pay me back only $95, that is the opposite of riba. That's exactly actually what's going on when it comes to cashback. Cashback actually is a kind of promotion. Where the credit card company is telling you, if you use my credit card, I will be appreciating your business by paying you back some cash money, right? Now, in the like riba wise, okay, I want you to remember this qaida. كل قرض جر نفعا مشروطا للمقرض فهو ربا. كل قرض جر نفعا مشروطا للمقرض فهو ربا. Each and every loan that brings stipulated benefit to whom? To the borrower or to the lender? To the lender, right? Each and every loan that brings a stipulated benefit to the lender will be counted as riba. Now, who is benefiting here when it comes to cashback? Who is benefiting, the borrower or the lender? Then that's absolutely the opposite of riba. And that's why cashback actually is halal. Maybe you have, noticed by now that some of those examples, yeah, alhamdulillah, no. If you do have some cashback, I can take it. Like if you are not that confident keeping the one, I can take it. So maybe you have noticed by now that some of those examples actually belong to or related to a few dollars, and some of them are related to hundreds of thousands of dollars. We are not here to discuss which transaction is important and which one is less important. We are here to discuss ideas, concepts, riba, haram and halal. Saving account, you're talking about a few dollars. Home mortgage, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But they both actually fall under the category of haram transaction. Cashback, maybe just a few dollars here or there. It's nothing. But it is the concept that cashback actually is halal one because the borrower is the one who is benefiting. So in our example, I give you $100 as a loan, and you pay it back to me $100, and as a kind of appreciation, I pay you back $5. So you end up borrowing $100 from me, paying me back $95. Okay, because it is the opposite of riba, it is halal. How about owner finance with interest? Owner finance with interest. What does it mean? Okay, same example. You want to purchase a house next door from your non-Muslim neighbor, and he's asking again for $500,000. Okay, of course you do not have money. You ask him a question: are you willing to do owner finance? He said yes. So he just grabbed his phone or his calculator and did some math. Said, okay, that house is for $500,000 cash, right? It's gonna be $800,000 within, $600,000 within 5 years, or $700,000 for 10 years installment, or $750,000 for 30 years. You just pick and choose whatever you want. Okay. Up to this point, as long as you are still in the negotiation, bargaining, stage of that agreement, what he did actually is halal, believe it or not. He can ask for extra money because of the installment. He can. That's the difference between the spot sale and the credit sale. Okay. البيع الحال والبيع الآجل. البيع الحال والبيع الآجل. Likewise, I can tell you that, listen, this phone is for $100 only cash. If you want to make an installment, it's going to be $110 for 1 year, $120 for 2 years. I can give you unlimited options, right? Once we both close on one option, then it is binding. Okay, so the price will be locked. No, this phone actually is for 1 year, $110. That's it, no more and no less. So once we close, we just lock the deal, and that's it, right? So back to our example. This is actually one of the very few cases where the Islamic finance system does appreciate what is called the money value. Okay, the money. I'm sorry, the time value. Sorry, the time value. Time value in a sense that John Smith, your non-Muslim neighbor, right? If he has decided to sell that house for $500,000 cash to somebody else, it would have been able to make $100,000 within the next few years profit from the $500,000. He did compromise that opportunity to make you happy. Okay, so يعني من باب هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان, right? He did you a favor, you should actually pay him back a favor. So because he compromised the other opportunity of selling that house cash and give you he is willing actually to give you that house in installment. So you need to compensate him back because of the opportunity, right? That's called the opportunity cost. That's called the opportunity cost. Again, if it is an owner finance, there is no third party in between. You are not borrowing money. Okay, you just make an in-house installment between you and the landlord. That would be fine. Now, what if he said in the deal, okay, $500,000 price plus $100,000 interest, and he insisted in putting the term interest? Would that make it haram? It does not make it haram. It's still halal. Again, العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. What matters in transactions is the essence and the reality, not the wording or the formality. So owner finance with interest actually is halal. Let me just confuse you more a little bit. Okay, same example. John Smith is asking for $500,000 cash, $600,000 for 10 years installment. You went to Bank of America. You involved a third party. You borrowed $500,000. You gave it cash to John Smith, and he took the house. And within the next 10 years, you paid Bank of America $600,000. Outcome result is the same. The first time you did an owner finance between you and John Smith, and the second scenario, you involved Bank of America. Okay, its outcome result is the same. You purchased the house for $600,000, 10 years in installment. Are they both equivalent, haram and halal wise? No, they are not. No, they are not. The first deal actually was halal because there was no loan agreement to start with. You did not borrow money. It was a in-house finance, owner finance. There was no loan. You were purchasing a house for a higher price. In the second scenario, it is absolutely haram because you did involve third party to, borrow from and to pay back with interest. Outcome result is the same. Mechanism is different. وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. Let's take a penalty clause. In most of the construction agreements, like you contract a construction company or home builders, okay, there should be like a due date. There should be a kind of time frame where the property has to be like turnkey ready, okay? And you made the deal that, okay, by the end of December 2025, the house has to be ready because you synchronized that date with the expiration of the lease agreement that you have in your apartment, okay? Whatever reason might be, that contractor did not submit on time. And you stayed in that apartment maybe for days, maybe for weeks, sometimes for months, okay? Going month by month. You are just paying a lot of money because of the default and the shortage, right, of the contractor, can you ask for penalty clause to be added? Yes, you can. So if you do not submit the house on time, I'm going to charge you such and such amount per day. Would that be fine? Yes. First of all, there is no loan agreement here. This is a manufacturing sale. عقد استثناء. Someone has raw materials and has workers and has the licensing and the ability to construct homes from scratch. He builds a house for $500,000 for you, okay, and he sells it back for $600,000. عقد استثناء, manufacturing sale. That's absolutely halal. Okay. Now, it does not affect the permissibility of that agreement if you add a penalty clause, because number one, there is no loan agreement, and number two, actually, the contractor is the one who's paying you because of his shortcoming, right? And that's why actually penalty clause is halal. So cashback is halal, owner finance with interest is halal, penalty clause actually is halal. Remember, العبرة في العقود للمقاصد والمعاني لا للألفاظ والمباني. Islamic finance actually is all about risk sharing and not risk shifting. We said several times that when you go to a bank, you take money, the principal is guaranteed and the return on top of the principal is guaranteed, right? When it comes to Islamic finance, loan is not a mode of finance to start with. Someone was asking me a question here just before Maghrib. What if I lended someone an amount of money, and because of the post-COVID inflation, I lost 4 or 5% purchase power of that money? Is it okay for him to pay me the extra, like to set off the inflation? My answer actually is no. Because to start with, loan is not a mode of finance. If I do have $100,000 cash available, and someone is approaching me asking for that $100,000 as a loan, if I know for a fact that he's in desperate need for that money to pay bills or to pay for the tuition fees of his kids or to purchase food or to pay the rent of his house, I'll be more than happy to give him that money as qardun hasan. Okay? In Islam, in the Islamic finance system, qardul hasan actually is an act of worship, is an act of devotion. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ himself told us that if you lend your money twice, you lend it and you take it back, you lend it, you take it back, it will be counted reward-wise as if you have donated that money. As if you have donated that money. You see? So it is an act of charity, it is an act of cooperation and support for the needy individuals. Now, if the same individual is approaching me asking for my $100,000 available, and I know for a fact that he wants that money to establish a business, to open a grocery store or to upgrade his car dealership business, is it a good idea for me to give him $100,000 loan? And he's a practicing Muslim, he does not pay interest, and like him, I'm a practicing Muslim, I do not charge interest. Is it a good idea for me to give him my money as qardun hasan, interest-free loan, for 2 or 3 years, to take that money, put it in his business, right? And to make a lot of profit. And then I incur the inflation, especially post-COVID-19. Inflation nowadays goes between 5 to 7, sometimes even 10%. So he takes my money for 2 or 3 years, he makes a lot of profit, صحتين وعافية, and then after 2 or 3 years, coming back with $100,000, in which its purchase power went down to 70 or even 60%. With the big hug, oh Sheikh, Jazakallah khair, thank you, here's your money back. Seriously? Am I making like a good decision by giving him a loan? Actually, I'm not. And I'm not even supposed to give him that money, believe it or not. There is no qardun hasan here, okay? There's nothing called investment loan. If I know that this guy is looking for the money for business purpose, well, let's sit down together and talk business. Why you want that money? Oh, I have a car dealership, okay? If I do actually believe that this guy is expert enough, I would give him that money as mudaraba. How about that? Mudaraba means trustee partnership. Here is the money, it's not a loan. Money as mudaraba, as a partnership, trustee partnership. I offer you the money, you use that money for car dealership business only, within the USA, within the state of Connecticut. You give him as many conditions and restrictions as you would like, right? Okay, and in return, you ask for a certain percentage of the profit to be given to you. Not certain percentage to the principal. Be careful. You cannot say, okay, I'm asking for 10% of the principal as a profit. So 10% in our example is $10,000. That's wrong. You cannot do this. You cannot do it like this. You can say, okay, based on my assessment of the situation, you have a business, we'll establish business, and I will be giving you $100,000. I should be entitled to get 20% of the net profit of the whole business. 20% of the net profit of the whole business. Are you okay with that? He said yes. Okay, so we can just sign a deal and give him the money. If there is a profit toward the end of the fiscal year, right, or the business course, then I should be entitled for 20% of the net profit, not the principal, as my share of the profit. What if there was no profit? You barely was able to break even. Well, I just take my money and go back home. That's it. Well, worst case scenario, there was no embezzlement, there was no mismanagement, nothing wrong, no negligence, nothing wrong from his end. Something happened and he was unable even to maintain or to survive. Like he lost even the principal. Well, believe it or not, I cannot go after him. I cannot go after him and ask for my principal. That is actually what Islamic finance is all about. I think we need to break here. I do have maybe 4 or 5 slides after that. Maybe we can break for Salat al-Isha and we'll continue inshallah. Yeah, sure. Inshallah. طيب جزاكم الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة وقد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا اعتدلوا استقيموا. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. طيب، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أحبابي الكرام، أنا سوف أستأذن من الشيخ بس فيها فقط كلمة قصيرة. صلى الله على رسول الله. شيخنا الفاضل إن شاء الله عز وجل سوف the Sheikh إن شاء الله will continue to finish his course, which is Islamic Financing 101. But here is the point. Basically, our Sheikh Maan Alqudhaa, he came mainly first, inshallah, to spread knowledge so we can understand what's the Islamic financing. We know and to protect our deen and our dignity, our Islam, our faith. Meanwhile, he come for another reason. Actually, he requested to visit us in Ramadan, but for some reason, from both sides, from us here and from his side, we decided to make it very short. Yani he come in the last minute, subhanallah, and the storm coming soon. But here is the point, Habab al-Kiram. He is running or taking care of, because we have very short time, it's called Guidance College. Am I right, Shaykhana? This college mainly focuses on Islamic knowledge, educating, graduating, helping students that will serve the Islam and help our community. And it's a great cause, by the way. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, we are in need for this purposely. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَعِلْمٌ يُنْتَفَعُ بِهِ, the only thing that will left behind after we die, كما حدث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, ولد صالح يدعو له. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make our kids صالحين, otherwise يعني نسأل الله عز وجل ما أدري they will remember our names or not. ولد صالح ندعو له, and then he said وعلم ينتفع به, and a knowledge that will be behind you and it will get benefit out of it. So أحباب الكرام, we need your support, we need your help. إن شاء الله عز وجل لو استطعنا, طبعا بإذن الله عز وجل, لو بعض الأخوة هنا إذا أتوا إلى الشيخ وإن شاء الله سبحانه عز وجل, but if you can come to the sheikh and get pledges for what you can, or inshallah azza wa jal, we promise our sheikh, I know it's really tough in very short time, but inshallah azza wa jal, we will bring him up next time inshallah, and we will continue. But here's the point, keep the guidance college in your mind إن شاء الله عز وجل. تذكروا هذه المسألة, وسوف إذا أراد الشيخ أن يضيف شيء وإلا فليذهب, يعني لأن أنا متأكد في كثير من الأخوة حتى online they have some questions regarding the المسألة التي أشرت إليها, خاصة فيما يتعلق بالزكاة والربا وما يدور حولها بعض المسائل, فأترك المجال للشيخ وإن شاء الله عز وجل. من كما ذكرت لكم, the pledges form out there if you want to donate with something, but inshallah we will bring him up inshallah next time. جزاكم الله خير. ما ذكرت لك انا خلاص ان شاء الله عز وجل, واحنا لان الاخ عمر بيقول قال ان الجمع قليل, معانا الاخوه فيها احيانا يا عمر القليل فيها البركه, لكن انت قطعت علي, لكن لعلها كانت بدخل الشيء, لكن تفضل.
طيب I will skip. طيب جزاك الله جزاك الله.
question Q&A اذا كنت معك شيء ولا نبدا؟
كمل بس 10 minutes ان شاء الله.
ربع ساعه 10 دقائق ممكن نعلنها الان. For any brothers or sisters that have questions online, they can either share the questions through the WhatsApp groups or through the YouTube channel. You also they can post in the YouTube, and we can inshallah as well forward the question to the Sheikh inshallah for any questions regarding Islamic financing, interest, financial aid, the loan, students loan, dhahab, the gold, zakah, and so on. Sheikh inshallah azza wa jal is ready to answer all these questions.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah wa ba'd. So I was saying before Salat al-Isha that each and every طيب if we can just have one conversation please, like. So I was saying I was saying that each and every mode of finance in the Islamic finance system does have to have a certain amount of risk, to justify the profit that the finance actually is. So I was saying that each and every mode of finance here in the Islamic finance system does have to have a certain amount of liability and risk taken by the financier in order for him to justify the profit that he is looking for. If that particular aqd, musharaka or mudaraba or ijara or istisna is risk-free, right? And the financier actually is guaranteeing the principal and guaranteeing the profit on top of it, that particular practice actually is not a halal one. Let me, I think we are not ready to continue, so let's just open the floor for question and answer. Go ahead. تفضل.
شيخنا السلام عليكم جزاك الله خير مجيئك. سؤالي على الجمعية الذي كثير من المسلمين مثلا 10 أشخاص مننا.
شو؟
10 أشخاص مثلا نتفق على جمعية $1000 في الشهر مثلا تدور مع بعضنا يساعد بعضنا البعض لا زايد ولا ناقص. هل فيها شيء؟
لا ما فيها شيء أبدا خالص. الشيخ بيسأل عن he's asking about like a mutual lending agreement, like when people set a group together and each one of them pays, let's say $1,000 a month, right? So each one actually lends person A 1,000, and then next month each one pays the next person another 1,000. So it's a kind of jam'iyya, like a mutual lending, right? Which is an interest-free one. Is there any haram involved in it? My answer actually is no, there is no haram. Okay, it is based on أقرضني وأدفع لك. يعني you lend me $1,000, I pay it back to you $1,000. It's just a kind of like cooperation between people, especially like if those people are in need and they cannot secure a good amount of money to purchase or to respond to their financial need, right? They just like help one another by giving interest-free loan. Each one of them pitches in 1,000, and then that individual who took the money will start like paying 1,000 to other members. So it is just a mutual lending agreement, and there is no haram actually involved in it. No.
إذا شارك اثنان أحدهم بالمال والثاني بالخبرة وعلى أساس الربح بالنصف، هل الخسارة تقع على رأس المال؟
في عقد المضاربة حبيبنا نعم، يعني إذا وقعت المضاربة كما ذكرت، يعني المال قدم من أحدهما والعمل، مش بس الخبرة، لا العمل الأكتوال مانجمنت يعني، عرفت؟ قدم من الطرف الآخر. في حالة الربح يقتسمان الربح على ما اتفقا عليه. It could be 50-50, it could be 40-60-70, whatever they agreed upon. When there is a financial loss, the financier, like the one who provided the money, is the one who is incurring that loss, because the other one, the manager or the operator, will be losing his labor, will be just working for free. So there is an actual loss on him, but it is actually labor. Okay, it is not a financial one. It is the time and the effort that he, spent for free. But they cannot share the financial loss. That's wrong. Because the manager in this case did not even pitch in money to start with. Why should he pay out of pocket money? You see? So الخسارة تقع على صاحب رأس المال، وعامل المضاربة يخسر عمله، يشتغل ببلاش. أي نعم.
Is the money for 1K?
401K.
Yeah. Is it zakatable?
Well, any kind of investment you have in the stock market, whether it is employer-based, okay, or individual-based, right, is a zakatable money. However, you don't have to pay zakat on the total amount, okay, or investment that you have in 401K. You go with whatever is accessible, whatever is withdrawable. So if that sister, for example, is having, let's say, like straight $100,000 worth of investment, okay, in the month of Ramadan, if she wants to apply for an employer for a hardship or a humanitarian case, right, how much the investment company will be giving her an access to? Let's say 50%. So the accessible amount in our example is how much? 50,000. Is that correct? If she decides to proceed, she will not be taking home 50,000. She will be charged tax and penalty and processing fees. Let's say 20,000, right, total. So the net amount, the take-home amount is 30,000. That $30,000 is zakatable based on 2.5% zakat rate. And you need to do the same exercise every year, unless the secret. Like now, you know that each and every single 100,000 that you have in your account, then you're gonna end up paying zakat on only 30,000. 30,000 for each 10,000 you pay how much? You tell me, huh? $250, right? Which is ربع العشر. So for each 1,000 you pay how much? 25. 2.5%, right? 250. So you do the math, and you pay only 2.5% on the take-home amount after deducting all the tax and the penalty and the processing fees and whatever expenses associated with that amount, right? Now,
Assalamu alaikum. So my question is on day trading or trading in the market, stock market. Is what's halal and what's haram in it?
Day trading, as long as it is proven that once you purchase a financial instrument, I would assume that you would limit yourself to stocks only. So no derivatives, no options, no futures, nothing. Is that correct? So only stocks. If by day trading you mean that you purchase a certain financial instrument and you become fully liable for it. So if something happened, there was an increase or decrease in the value, okay, of that financial instrument, you are the exclusive responsible party for it, then that's halal. There is no minimum amount of time that you have to hold the property or the asset before you sell it, right? It's all about al-daman. Al-daman actually is the liability. Are you the liable party for whatever you purchase before you sell? If something happened and the price just jumped, increased, who will be getting the profit? Isn't it you? If something happened and the price went down, who's gonna lose the money? Isn't it you? Well, if that is proven, then day trading actually is allowed. Assuming with the assumption that you trade in something that's halal to start with. This, by the way, has nothing to do with short selling. Short sale actually is different. Short sale is you borrow stocks from someone and you sell them with the impression or the expectation that the price will go down, and you know the rest of the story. So short sale is completely different from day trading. And your question was about day trading, right? Day trading actually is allowed. Well, cryptocurrency is completely different. Cryptocurrency actually is a kind of asset or money that is imposing itself nowadays, right? There is no way to ignore it or act as if nothing happened. It is there. So even the IRS started charging tax on cryptocurrency, believe it or not, started 2022, which is a kind of acknowledgement that cryptocurrency is an asset. You want to count it as money, currency, you want to count it as an asset, doesn't make any difference. It is valuable thing, right? Trading actually in cryptocurrency is not recommended because there is a very significant fluctuation in the purchase power, okay, or the market value of those cryptocurrencies. So we do not dare, by we I mean AMJA or Fiqh Council, we do not dare saying it is haram, right? But we highly recommend our community to stay away from cryptocurrency. It has a lot of gharar, like uncertainty. Prices go up and down significantly, and we do not know the reason behind that fluctuation.
Once also we have a question here regarding, actually two questions. Number one, it's regarding the halal mortgage. Can you recommend any companies or providers that most likely you recommend them and you see them, they follow up the Islamic teachings?
Yes, our Fiqh Council recently, just last month, approved a new company called HomeMac. Write it down, HomeMac. HomeMac, H-O-M-A-E, Home, and then Mac, M-A-C. Okay. They do business as Mubarak Mortgage. Doing business as Mubarak Mortgage. This is actually a brand new company that has been unconditionally approved by AMJA. Their mode of finance actually is Murabaha. They purchase a house, right, and they sell it back to you with the higher price. And actually, we do approve it. Now, second comes what comes after HomeMac is Guidance Residential, okay, and then after that there is Devon Bank and University Islamic Finance. But the best one so far is HomeMac, and then number two, Guidance. Yeah, it's a new one now. Guidance
Residential.
It's not Guidance College, it's Guidance Residential. Guidance College is a degree granting institute, it's a university. Guidance Residential is a mortgage company. نعم شيخ إبراهيم.
جزاكم الله خير. سؤال آخر شيخنا, it's a frequent and constant questions. Sisters, they ask about the gold zakah that was saved or mainly for zina. It's constant. Some they said sometimes the amount or the price of that zakah is a very limited. It's limited amount. and should they pay the zakah every year? And then maybe within 10 years, the zakah that has been paid, most likely to the same price they paid in the early beginning.
Well, the bottom line here is that لا زكاة في الحلي, like jewelry for personal use is zakah exempt. Like sisters do not even have to pay zakah on the jewelry that they have, period. Unless, number one, that jewelry was purchased for business purposes, like there is a profit motive behind it. Some people they shop around, whenever the price goes down, they sell what they have. Whenever goes down, they purchase. Whenever the price goes up, they sell what they have. So even if that jewelry is for her personal use, but if she has that profit motive behind buying and selling, then all what she has actually is subject to zakah, right? As long as the jewelry is within the average in that society, and it is for her personal use, it is zakah exempt. She does not have to pay zakah on jewelry, period. Now, there is a big difference between can I pay zakah as opposed to do I have to pay zakah. Of course you can pay zakah. And I'm not here tonight to discourage anyone from paying zakah on jewelry. The more zakah you pay, the more reward you will be getting, and you will be in the safe side. But if you ask me a question as a student of knowledge, do I have to pay zakah? My answer is no. As long as you're, like the sisters, the inquirer, as long as your jewelry is within the average, okay, you are not like excessively owning way more than what others have. And number two, it's for your personal use. Personal use doesn't mean that you have to wear everything every day. It means that jewelry is designated for you. Even if you just store it in the bank, it doesn't make a difference. It's still actually personal property for her personal use. Thus, zakah exempt, no zakah on it. No. If you wanna go with the madhab that jewelry is zakatable, right? Then it depends on how much you have, okay? And if you add it up to the rest of the sources that you have, like let's say for example the nisab nowadays, okay, 85 grams of gold, the pure 24 karat gram of gold, okay, is around $85 to $90, right? So the nisab as of today, simple math, 85 grams of gold times $85 per gram, that's around $7,200, right? What does that mean? It means that if you do have a minimum, a net amount, $7,200, then you have to pay zakah for this particular year. Now, those $7,200 might come from some jewelry, right? If you are a Hanafi or like you follow mutaakhiri al-Hanabila, who say that jewelry is zakatable. If you constitute a nisab that's coming from jewelry, okay, from cash money that you have, and some saving like in your checking account in the bank, if you put them together, add them up, if you constitute $7,200, then you have to pay zakah. Now, last year, okay, the gram was for only $60. Yeah, this year, no. Yeah, so you need to go with the market value of the gold in the zakah due date, regardless of the history behind it. So even if you purchase the gram for only $20 10 years ago, and it is now $85 or $90 per gram, you pay zakah based on $90. For whatever reason, okay, after 2 or 3 years, the price of the gold went down significantly. Well, you pay zakah based on the market value of the gold that you have, regardless of the history behind it. No.
How about if you bought the gold for two purposes, both for the jewelry for your wife and also to save the money, to make it safe? Is that zakah on it or not?
You need to identify and specify your intention. Is it for her personal use or for business purposes?
Not business, for saving. Like it's for two purposes, for her to wear, but also to save money. Not to trade, but just as value, save the value of the money.
If there is no trading like plan or intention behind it, by default, like whenever you purchase gold, you are saving the the purchase power of the currency or the fiat money, because the fiat money is badly afflicted by the inflation. So even if you purchase a piece of land, even if you purchase like anything, okay, you are saving the purchase power of the money or the fiat money. So again, if the intention is not to trade in the near future, then this is zakat. I mean, this is huli, right? Like personal jewelry for your wife or your daughter, for example. Thus, zakah exempt. I did not pay zakah on the jewelry of my wife and my daughters, for the like throughout my whole life, I did not pay zakah on it because it's not zakatable. No.
يا الله شيخنا تقبل الله منا ومنك. أنا طلبي الأول سيد لا تقصر علي. طلبي الأول إني لو سمحت لو أعدت الإجابة على السؤالين الماضيين باللغة العربية لأني ما تمكنت جيدا مما ذكرته بالإنجليزي. السؤال المتعلق بقضية الحلي والسؤال المتعلق بقضية الجمعيات اللي أشار له صالح. قضية جمع 1000 على كل شخص مثلا أو 100. وأنت تعرف أدرى فعلا بأن كل سلف جرى نفعا فهو ربا، وذلك الحديث معروف أنه ضعيف أصلا، ولكنه أجمع العلماء عامة على أن معناه يشهد للقاعدة التي أجمع عليها أن كل سلف جرى نفعا فهو ربا. المسألة الأخرى المتعلقة بقضية الحلي اللي ذكرها الأخ الآن بقضية حلي النساء، أن بعض الرجال اليوم أو التجار يجعله مكانا للادخار لتأمين المال، فتكون المرأة مثلا الزوجة مثلا عندها 3 أنواع من الحلي أو 4، قيمة المجموع سيصل أكثر من 20,000. هو في الظاهر أنه للزينة والحلي ولتزين المرأة، ولكن في نفس الوقت هو لتأمين بعض النقود. ألا يعتبر هذا فرارا من حق الفقير وإبطالا للزكاة فيه؟ على الأقل ألا تكون فيه زكاة على الأقل مرة واحدة، حتى نأخذ على الأقل بقول بعض أهل العلم القائلين أن الحلي إذا كان مثلا المرأة تستخدمه ولو في السنة مرة واحدة أن ذلك يسقط الزكاة، لكن إذا كان كثيرا وكان يأخذ مالا كبيرا لا يعتبر.
ما شاء الله أخي، يعني الشيخ ومفتي وعارف الإجابة، يعني لما تسأل؟
أنا أستفسر فقط يعني لأستفيد منكم، جزاكم الله خير.
طيب يعني السؤال الأول كان عن موضوع الجمعيات التعاونية تقصد؟ نعم. الجمعيات التعاونية حبيبنا هذه يعني لا تقوم على أساس أقرضني وأقرضك، هذه يعني يمكن أن تخرج على أساس أقرضني وأدفع لك، يعني أنت أقرضني 1000 وأنا أدفعه لك، عرفت؟ يعني إذا كان كل واحد من المشتركين يدفع 1000 ويقبضها 1000، يدفع 1000 ويقبضها 1000، يعني هو في النهاية على مدار العام يدفع 10,000 ويكون قد استلم أصلا 10,000. بعض أهل العلم المعاصرين زي الشيخ محمد الددو حفظه الله يعني يرى عدم إباحة هذه المعاملة، يعني كتب التراث الحقيقة خاصة كتب المالكية التي قرأتها فيها نص صراحة عن هذه المعاملة معاملة مباحة لا شيء فيها. هيئة كبار العلماء في السعودية الشيخ ابن باز رحمة الله عليه كان يفتي يعني بإباحته، لأن هذه ليست من القرض الذي جر نفعا، عرفت؟ هذا عبارة عن نوع من التعاون، عرفت؟ يعني أنا أستلم 10,000 من 10 أشخاص، عرفت؟ 9,000 عفوا، الشهر القادم أنا أدفع لكل واحد 1000، فأكون أنا أخذت 10 عرفت نقدا ودفعتها 10 بالتقسيط وانتهى الأمر. الحقيقة يعني لا يسلم أن هذا من القرض الذي جر نفعا، يعني لا منفعة فيه، عرفت؟ أما المنفعة اللي ذكرها الشيخ الددو بالمناسبة قال يعني المنفعة أنك أنت تأخذ الأموال كلها نقدا وتدفعها تقسيطا، فأنت بتستفيد وجود 10,000 أمامك بعدين تدفعها يعني بتقسيط. الحقيقة هذا لا يعد من النفع، يعني أنا اقترضت 10 ودفعته 10 وانتهى، أو اقترضت 9 ودفعته 9 وانتهى الأمر، فيعني ما أرى الحقيقة فيها بأس. بالنسبة لموضوع الحلي، يعني الفقهاء يقولون الخروج من الخلاف مستحب، الخروج من الخلاف مستحب. السادة الأحناف يرون يعني وجوب الزكاة في الحلي وأنها من الأموال الزكوية. من أراد أن يأخذ بمذهبهم فجزاه الله خير. أنا شافعي يعني المذهب، يعني في مذهبي لا زكاة في الحلي إلا إذا يعني تجاوزت الحد المعروف أو مثلا اشتريت بقصد الإنماء وبقصد الاسترباح، فعندها تتحول إلى عروض تجارة يعني، وبذلك أفتي. الله
تريد أن تقوله حتى يسمعه الآخرين فيما يتعلق بقضية حلي النساء، أن يعني الحكم يدور مع العلة وجودا وعدما، بمعنى أن الحكم في قضية حلي النساء السبب إلغاء الزكاة فيه هو أنه أصبح قنية، ولكن هذه القنية إذا أصبح الشخص الذي يشتريها أصلا يقتنيها لتأمين جزء من المال يخاف عليه من الخسارة في التجارة، فيدخر مثلا $1,000,000 أو $10,000 أو $50,000 $30,000 بهذا الحليب. فهذا لا ترى أنه يعني الأفضل أن ننبه الناس أنها يعني على الأقل ما تفروا من حتى ما نكون شافعيين يعني.
والله يا حبيبنا بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره.
هذا قاطع الحسن.
يعني نعم.
طيب
يعني
المسألة الأخرى
نعم. يعني الذي يريد الحقيقة أن
نعم.
يعني
هذه الآية تكفي. هذه الآية تكفي.
الذي يريد أن يحافظ على قيمة المال ويحتج يعني يغطي نيته بشراء الحلي، هذا أمر بينه وبين ربي عز وجل. احنا نقول الحلي المعد لاستخدام النساء لا زكاة فيه. عرفنا.
في قضية النقطة الأولى اللي كنا فيها، أنا بالنسبة لي يعني قد لا أقلد يعني لا ذو ولا بلاز ولا هذا، ولكن فقط يعني حتى أفهم منك جيدا في قضية الجمعيات هذه، في قضية ال1000 هذه اللي تجمع، أن الشخص أخذ 9,000 مثلا ورد 9,000، ولكن ألا تعرف أن كما ذكرت أنت أيضا أن يعني العبرة يعني الحكم على الشيء يفرع عن تصوره في هذه المسألة، أن الشخص اللي دخل هذا الموضوع أصلا ما دخل ولا طرح 1000 إلا ليجد 10,000، وأن هذه 10,000 عندما نريد توزيعها على الأشخاص ال5 أو ال6 الذين سيأخذونها مثلا، أنها مثلا اليوم ستكون عند هذا الرجل هو والثاني ينتظر ترجع إليه بنفس المبلغ اللي يأخذه يعني، فهو هنا كأنه أنا أعطيك هذه 1000 لترد علي 10,000، فأنا أسلفك لتسلفني. فلو قيل له خلاص نحن نعطي 10,000 لهذا الرجل ونوقف المسألة، فقال لا، نحن لا بد أن تدور علينا جميعا وكل واحد منكم يضع 1000 حتى تصل إلى 10,000. فهل يمكن أن يقطع العقد؟
هذا حبيبنا هذا تخريج لكنه تخريج صعب. يعني التخريج الأسهل أنني اقترضت 10,000 من مجموعة أناس، عرفت؟ ويعني وتعاهدت بدفعها بالتقسيط 1000 كل شهر.
لكن القرض لا يكون إلا لوجه الله، وهذا ليس لوجه الله، وإنما هو من باب أن أربح. أنا هنا دفعت 1000 لأجد 10,000.
خلاص أخي ابتعد عن الجمعيات ولا تستعمل. جزاك الله. نعم تفضل. نعم. نعم. تفضل يا شيخ إبراهيم. ما في ربا يا شيخ، الله يجزيك. تفضل يا شيخ.
لا ولا بس يا أحد الأخوات بتسأل على قضية هنا قال هل يعني إذا كان المؤسسات الإسلامية or the Islamic bank or companies get more money than the regular financing bank or companies, how can they deal with it? كيف يأخذوا منهم charge more?
Well, those Islamic mortgage companies are not like for charity purposes. They are not charitable organizations. They are for profit, and they want to make money. But the only difference is that they strive to generate money in a halal way by providing an Islamic alternative for the Muslim community. That's one thing. And the other thing, they charge more because of the amount of risk that they take. Do you know that Guidance Residential has lost around $30 million 2 months ago because of the hurricane that took place in Florida? In the contract that they have, there is a very clear clause that in case of natural disaster, right, and the insurance is not covering the damage, they share actually the cost of the damage proportionally with the customer. That's why they lost $30 million. Now, because of the liability that they take, they deserve actually to mark up their profit to be higher than the average. So I do not see any problem with that. Yes, they charge more because actually they take more risk. In the stock market, like if you go hedge fund, right, you take more risk and that's why you make more profit. Likewise, Guidance Residential, for example, take more risk. Like their agreement or mortgage contract is a very untraditional one, okay, way different from other companies. Because of the liability that they take, they justify the profit, right? And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-kharaju bid-daman." Profit follows liability, right? Profit follows. So because of the liability and the risk they take, they justify the profit that they make. No. Comments, questions? نعم نعم، الأخ بيسأل أو الأخت بتسأل الأونلاين بتقول يعني ليش شركات التمويل الإسلامية تأخذ أرباح أكثر من البنوك العادية؟ والإجابة أن ذلك بسبب المخاطرة التي يتحملونها على أساس أن الخراج بالضمان، يعني هم يشترون العقار مشاركة مع العميل ويتحملون الخسائر في بعض الحالات، فبسبب الضمان يستحقون الربح، بينما البنك العادي يعطي قرضا ربويا مضمونا، رأس المال مضمون والعائد مضمون، فلا يعني لا يأخذون مخاطرة، ولذلك يعني their profit or their haram profit which is riba is to the minimum, while those Islamic mortgage companies they take some risk that is sufficient enough to justify the profit that they're asking for. نعم. تفضل. والله يا حبيبنا يعني الأصل في هذه العقود يعني أنها تخرج على شركة العقد وليس شركة الملك، وفي شركة العقد في الشريعة لا يجوز ضمان رأس المال، لكن واقع الحال أن يعني الفقهاء الذين أفتوا بإباحة هذه المعاملة خرجوها على شركة العقد، على شركة الملك وليس على شركة العقد، وفي شركة الملك كما تعلم